The wheel of time turns, and ages come and pass, leaving memories that become legend. Legend fades to myth, and even myth is long forgotten when the age that gave it birth comes again. In one age, called the Fourth Age by some, an age yet to come, an age long past, a wind rose in the lands formerly of the Blight. The wind was not the beginning. There are neither beginnings nor endings to the turning of the wheel of time, but it was a beginning. Born around the dark edifice called shawl, the wind blew east, out across the lands once called blasted, no longer tainted by darkness and shadow. Down it flailed into the town of Dal Sherandu, through the streets of craftsmen and miners, beating at the wooden sign depicting 8 tall towers hanging above the door to a tavern.
You are listening to Just Roll With It. Jonathan is your lore master. Christine plays the channeler Amena Valare. Neil plays the Ogier Quercus son of Ilex. Aradia plays the channeler Pimur and Amena. And Fate plays the child of the light, Lance Akashi.
Holy shit.
Trying to keep that secret from everybody.
Yeah, my words, his mouth. I'm still not over it.
Like, our story starts there? What?
I know.
Oh, man.
Wow.
That's so fucking cool.
It's so surreal.
It could have been the opening to a chapter of The Wheel of Time.
Which was entirely the way I wanted it written. I wanted it to sound like... I know it's a D&D game. We're having fun. But, yeah, I wanted it to... And that puts me in the mood. Every time I hear that, it puts me in the mood. So...
The resonance of his voice.
This is more than just a D&D game. This is like the ultimatest of D&D settings that we could possibly do.
Yeah.
Like, she said my name. What is my life?
I know. Oh my god.
All right. So, we are in the village of Dal Sherandu, the northern edge of what is now New Malkir. The Blight has receded, the blasted lands no longer exist. Life has returned to the Mountains of Doom and shawl. And this is a town of miners and craftsmen. I want you to imagine, basically, after the last battle, everybody started flourishing and expanding. This town was created as sort of a hub. It's a spot where people can come before they've head further down south into the rest of Malkir. People are exploring, people are having their Oregon Trail moments and just going out and exploring this new area that has been prevented from exploration for so long. Our story takes place in the Fourth Age, the year 150 YSD, or Year of the Sacrifice of the Dragon. So this is 150 years after the last battle. As the wind bats slowly at this sign depicting 8 towers, everybody knows it's a pun. The Lord of 7 Towers of Malkir is the king. The 8th tower is obviously just as important. This is a rough and tumble pub. It is a place of fellowship. It's a place for everyone to gather when they've had a long day. And it's a place to just sort of leave your worries behind and have a pint, have some food, and just sort of relax. The door opens, and a man walks in. It's been a very long day. Fate, what does Lance look like?
He is a very young, well-cut, clean-shaven, brown-haired, somewhat short and muscular man. Constantly walking around without the chip on his shoulder that everyone associates with the old white cloaks.
The tavern's bustling, tonight. It seems to be quite a crowd. It must be something. You do know that it is Danu the 17th. The Festival of Lights is a mere two and a half weeks away. Everyone's sort of getting in that holiday mood. The northern winds have come down. It's starting to be a bit chilly. You might want to clutch your cloak around you, but the inside of the tavern is nice and warm. You can see the bartender standing behind the bar, rotund, bearded man, cleaning some glasses. Kind of gives you a gentle nod as you walk in. Do you do anything specifically?
So what's the news for today, sir?
And this bartender, you've probably been stationed here for a few months at least. The White Cloaks, now being the Children of the Light, now more of a Teutonic order of knights rather than the hate group that they were in previous ages. Your job is you are responsible for maintaining the law along the travel routes in and out of New Malkir, assisting the Malkiri in guarding their roads from bandits and other ne'er-do-wells. There's only a small detachment here, less than 100 men, and they are led by Bannerman Gevran, and you have the duty off today. And this bartender kind of sits up a little bit straight, and you can see he's got a walking stick carved with vines and leaves next to the bar. You've met him before. His name is Rigney. And Rigney is standing there. He's like, not much. Had a bunch of miners come in today. They're drinking me out of house and home, which is just fine by me. How are you doing today, child?
I'm sore as usual from these days, or these moments of training. Keeping the law, it's work. Those Aiel can't be everywhere.
It's understandable. Do you want your usual then?
Without a doubt, you got the best stuff in town.
He's got the only stuff in town. And he'll turn and he'll draw a glass of dark beer from a large tankard behind him, and he just slides it across the bar and says, as always, first one's free for the children.
I'm gonna turn around and look and see where there's an open spot for me to go sit down and enjoy this.
It's pretty simple. Do you want are you looking for a booth, or are you looking for somewhere near people, or are you trying to be alone right now?
Near people. I gotta be social.
Not a problem. You're easily enough to find a round table sort of in the corner. 2 or 3 miners look like they're playing poker dice. They've got a small wooden board in front of them, and they're rolling. You can get that dice noise as they're rolling, and occasionally one of them will be like, and you can see them trading golden sovereigns back and forth between the two of them. It seems to be a friendly game, not really for money, just sort of because they're bored.
Okay, I'm gonna sit down near them so we can observe, and then once I finish the drink, we'll start gambling.
All right. Are you wearing your children's garb, or is it very obvious that you are a child of the light?
Without a doubt, I've got the white cloak on.
Perfect. One of the farmers or miners kind of looks and sees you and respectfully nods, and then says, child, did you hear the latest news?
News? No, I've been on the training field all day.
Aye, they've had a huge battle over near Chachin again. And you hear the word Chachin, and the camera is going to fade to black. And then it's going to fade back in on a fire. And that fire is going to grow, and the camera's going to pull out, and you are going to see a building, and the building is on fire. And then the sound kicks in, and you hear battle. You hear swords slashing, you hear screams of men and women, and then the camera pans back around, and you see more buildings on fire. And as it continues to pull out, you see that it's Chachin. Men are just all over the place fighting and battling, but you don't know where your mom and dad are. Dad said they would be gone only a few minutes, but then these other men came, and now your friend is lying dead at your feet, and your house is on fire, and no one seems to be paying attention to you. And as you're kind of trying to take it all in, maybe coughing a little bit as the smoke starts billowing, the front door slams open, and your father stumbles in. Boy, come on, take my hand.
Yes, father.
And
I'm gonna
grab you
take
by the
his hand and help him along, seeing that he's not breathing very well.
As you rush into the street, there's just bodies and men all over the place. a woman that you recognize as selling vegetables in the market runs by, and then suddenly an arrow hits her in the back and she tumbles and stays still. There's chaos and utter carnage, and your father is just limping along, holding your hand. Go to the alley, boy. Go to the alley.
There's no doubt I'm going down that alley as quick as I can.
And
I'm gonna look behind me. Is he following me?
He's following you as best as he can. And as you pull into the alley, it's covered in refuse, and you're splashing, and it looks like you're walking through blood or juice. You don't know. You're too young. You don't get it. And then you kind of grabbed as your father kneels in front of you and says, "Listen to me, boy. You need to run. Run for the gate. I'll go, run!" And he'll turn you around and he pushes you forward.
I'm gonna full on sprint. I gotta get news to the gate, I guess.
Do you look behind you, or are you just continuously slamming forward?
With the fear that he's put into me, I'm just going as quick as I can, terrified, not really looking around, just like tunnel visioned on that goal.
Go ahead and give me a stealth check.
15.
Okay, you feel like you're pretty stealthy. You're able to slide between pieces of burning debris and flaming carts and corpses. People don't really seem to be paying attention to you. And as you make it towards the gate, you see that it is open and it has been shattered, and there are dozens of men fighting by it. Some in the livery of Chachin, some in other colors that you don't necessarily recognize, and they all seem to be just beating the living crap out of each other.
Is there any kind of bow or knife or sword or something around me?
Give me an investigation check.
12.
You're kind of hiding by maybe a cart that used to sell fruits or vegetables, and there is a blade sort of stuck in it by a cutting board, something that might have been used to cut food at some point.
Okay, I'm gonna grab it and try and help my comrades, like help the town. So if I see someone who's like not dead yet, going around trying to stab them, take out the weakest ones so that everyone in town doesn't get surprised.
Okay, roll me a perception check.
Passive is 11.
Okay, so you do see somebody not in the colors of Chachin kind of running around and kicking the corpses, and those that appear to have the shred of life left in them, he's just stabbing them in the throat and then moving on, rustling through them real quick to see if they have anything of value.
How is he dressed?
He is dressed in leather armor, real shabby looking. He's got a beard that seems to be thinning and gray, and no helmet or anything, and he is not in the colors of Chachin.
I'm gonna wait around a corner for him to come after this corpse that's in front of me, like trying to hide behind one of the barrels or something so I don't get seen, because he's obviously bigger than me. He knows what he's doing. There's no way he's gonna let me live.
Okay, go ahead and roll me another stealth check.
17.
Okay, you feel like you're pretty hidden from him.
Okay, I'm gonna stand there and, like the little kid shaking, dagger in his hands held out in front of him, just...
Alright. So as you're sitting there, waiting, eyes focused on this other guy, you feel something behind you, and as you turn, you get smacked in the face, and as you fall to the ground, and there's somebody else standing above you, and his eyes are dilated and slightly crossed. He's dressed in just regular clothes. He's got a small hand axe in his hand, and he looks down at you, and he just says, "Where do you think you're going, boy?" And right at that moment, as he's leaning down, you watch as a blade pierces through his neck, and he gets his look of surprise. Blood spatters all over you.
Oh, thank God. Thank the light.
And the man sinks to his knees and then falls down. And standing behind him is a vision out of a story. Tall, chainmail, conical cap on their head, white cloak fluttering in the breeze, with a big longsword in his hand, and he swipes down and he kills somebody else. And then he reaches down with a gloved hand and says, "Come with me, kid. We've got to go."
But my father!
"There's no time, boy. If you want to live, you need to come with me.
I'm gonna look around, like the kid that doesn't ever want to leave their home, and just, I'm gonna take his hand and follow.
And as you take his hand and and run towards the gate, the camera's gonna fade to black, and we find ourselves back in the tavern. Child, I'm sorry. Did you hear me?
Sorry. You said something. Forgive me. What was your news?
The fighting has started up in Chachin again. Looks like the Kandori are going to war with each other again. You'd think it would be over by now, but it's terrible.
With the Dark One sealed away, there's nothing to hold them together. There's just fighting for what they know. But this is something I will take to the commander. Thank you.
Of course. Could we interest you in a game? Interested in losing a few coppers?
I'm always entertained. I'm gonna throw 2 coppers down to gamble.
All right, he's gonna pass you some dice. I need you to roll 5d6.
A 1, a 4, 2 5s, and a 6.
You beat his roll, and kind of... well, it's just 2 coppers anyway.
I'm gonna give him 1 copper back. Thank you for the shudder a little bit and noose.
Absolutely fair. We're gonna be here all night if you're interested.
Okay.
Heimer over here doesn't know how to lose gracefully, do ya? And the other guy's kind of sitting with his chin in his arms, and he's like, bloody ashes, fuck off.
I'm gonna pat him on the shoulder before heading out.
All right. Now, as we leave the tavern, the camera's gonna pull out of the tavern and do a slow circle over the town and shoot out, not very far, maybe a quarter mile, just a 10 or 15 minute walk, to a small farmhouse. And the camera's gonna swoop in through the window. The lights are just coming on, the candles are being lit, and we're gonna focus on an older woman. She has a green scarf wrapped around her neck. She's wearing rough homespun. She appears to be missing her left arm, and she is played by Chloe Sevgeny, and she is angry. She is pounding on a door. Pimur, get your ass out of here!
Am I in the room?
You are not.
Okay.
She is pounding on the door to your room, which is apparently locked.
Fuck yeah, it is. Investigative old biddy.
What are you doing in there, Pimur? I told you to come out. It is time for you to do some more training. Listen to me. She'll pause for a second. Amena, can you talk some sense into your friend? I am unfortunately bound by the oaths.
And I kind of get up from the table and walk over to this very angry woman.
What do we see as Amena gets up and walks from the table?
Well, Amena is Jomani. She's about medium height, dark hair, olive skin, hazel eyes. Pretty, but very confident in the way that she moves. She doesn't really think about it very much. And right now, her focus is on getting the attention away from her friend who's not in his room.
I swear to gods, I swear to the Creator, if I have to channel the damn door down, I will. You know I don't like this.
And I just kind of like, since she's not looking at me, I sort of reach over with my hand and knock a bowl off the table. And when she turns around, I just, oh my goodness, I keep trying to practice this weave that you showed me, and I can't seem to get it right. Can you just show me again? I'm so sorry.
Child.
I know. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's not you I'm upset at. Pimur should be here too. She needs to learn this just as much as you do.
Well,
I'm not a girl! comes through the door.
Pimur, I was trying to cover for you. And I just like shoot you a dirty look. Like, seriously? I thought we had an arrangement.
Through the door?
You need a break from her.
Through the door?
Yes, through the door.
I can just tell you're glaring at me because I know you well enough by now.
You can feel it.
So, as Amena sits and watches, this woman, Kiera Sedai, embraces the source. She begins to glow, and she says, Pimur, what am I doing?
I unlock the door and open it, standing there, glowering.
And she whirls, what am I doing? Right now, what am I doing?
Being an irascible old...
And
Besides that,
You're
put my
embracing the
hand
source.
over Pimer's mouth.
what is the correct answer, Amena?
Well, Kiera Sedai, you are embracing the source.
Precisely. Pimur, you can tell, can you not?
Yes.
Problem solved. Which half of the true source are you able to channel, child?
The female half.
That makes you a female. Now, no more of this nonsense. To the table.
It's clearly not worth fighting over it for another 45 minutes right now, so... Pimur, very grudgingly, great quantities of resentment, comes over to the table, muttering, I'm not a girl.
And what does Pimur look like as he walks to the table?
So Pimur is tall and lanky. He's got kind of long, shaggy hair. It's kind of dark and ringlety, not ringlety, like wavy. He's got startlingly pale eyes in a tan, sort of honey-colored face and very, very direct glare. He's, kind of like slouchy, but like will still stare you down. He doesn't stand with his full height, but he still glares with his full intensity.
Okay. And Kiera will point to the table and be like, now, we're going to practice the exercises again.
Sits, arms folded.
All right, you two, go ahead and embrace the source.
Okay. And Amena, I just kind of sit up very prettily because I'm a gold star student. And I quite easily embrace the source because I've been doing this for a long time.
Whereas Pimur's going to sort of straighten up 7/10 of the way and sort of get this furrow of concentration, this effort, but not necessarily succeeding. But he's making sure that Kiera knows he's trying.
Being very obvious about dramatizing the fact that you're putting right. Because as we all know, grunting definitely helps you channel more.
Yeah, the eyebrow. It's all about the eyebrow scrunching.
What have I told you, Pimur? Flower. You are a flower. Open like a flower. Beautiful female flower.
Set this flower on fire. and with the distraction of anger and thinking about setting it on fire and how beautifully fire would set all the rose bushes that Kiera grows on fire, then the source comes.
And this would be a good time to mention that one of the things that we are doing for the playtest, if I am correct, is that the aura of the channeler shows what element they are preparing to channel, correct?
You got it.
Perfect. Okay. So what elements are you focusing on? What are you sort of preparing to, if anything?
I mean, fire, definitely. I'm about ready to set everything on fire.
So Pimur's aura is this deep red, just vicious, kind of surprising that she's not shooting fire beams out of her eyes at the rustic cabinetry behind Kiera. What about Amena?
I'm channeling air.
Okay. So sort of maybe a light blue, just kind of. And you would see that the aura around Kiera is also air. So she was probably just grabbing something that was instinctual and just holding on to it because she's an old school Aes Sedai. She is bound by the oaths. As much as she wants to smack the shit out of Pimur, she can't really do that. I am tired of this game. It is almost dinner time. I suppose you will want to go out and play with friends or whatever you children do.
I'm out of my chair and heading to the door.
And I just very gracefully push away from the table and rise and smooth my skirts.
Are you going to sniff too?
And I sniff just a little bit, but not a lot. And I say, oh, thank you, Kiera, said I. If you're sure that it's okay for us to take a break.
I am tired, and I'm old, and I don't have the fight in me anymore. I trust you won't get yourselves in too much trouble.
Oh, no, not us.
Amena, are you coming?
I'm coming. So I trot out.
Be back before full dark.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I use a little flow of air to kind of close the door gently behind us.
All right. Why don't you both roll me a perception check as you're standing outside?
Okay.
16.
19.
Okay. So neither one of you see anything, but a few moments later, Amena's the first one to smell it. You smell pipe smoke, and that can only mean one thing. Tedric's around somewhere.
Oh, it's Tedric.
Yeah, Tedric. Tedric's great. All right.
He's pretty cool.
Yeah, Tedric's all right.
Yeah.
I have no idea why he would have let himself get bonded to that insane old woman, but he's pretty cool.
She wasn't always old, and she is a green. I'm sure that there were benefits to being bonded to her.
I'm just going to be like, I do not want to think about that. I don't want to have that picture in my head at all. I mean, you're probably
Just
right.
saying. I am definitely
You know
right.
more about these things than I do, so
I do.
You're probably right. All right, so I want to look around and try to find Tedric.
Roll me an investigation check.
22.
All right. So you've gotten pretty good at his little hide and seek games. And so tucked up sort of on the back side of the building with his leg up as he's leaning back, he's got a pipe in his mouth, water cloak kind of wrapped around him, so you kind of only really see like legs and a shimmery head, is Tedric. He is large, bulky, bearded. He is played by David Harbour, and he kind of sits there and he goes, "You're getting better. Took you forever to be able to find me the first time."
Well, at least this is a lesson I actually feel like applying myself to.
She means well.
Could have fooled me.
But,
she still won't acknowledge that I'm a man. She still thinks that the power somehow dictates this.
It's not my job to say one way or the other. All I know is what you can channel. And it's not up to me, kid.
Wish that it was.
I'm just here to make sure you don't do something stupid.
Well, what's stupid is continuing to try to learn from Kiara Sedai. Can't even learn anything from her. All she wants to do is talk about gentle flowers and air. Like, why can't I set anything on fire?
You gotta walk before you can run, pup.
Pacing in a circle, kicking at rocks.
You going into the tavern tonight?
Oh, God, yeah. Late, yes. I need a drink. I almost called her out on her attempts to threaten me out of the door. I almost let her blow the door down tonight, but I didn't, and I deserve a drink as a reward.
Please don't. I have to fix that. I'd rather not.
It's most of the reason I don't. You know that.
Appreciate it. All right. Well, don't do anything stupid, and how about both of you come back this time? I don't need to be scooping one of you up in the early morning drunk and pull the other one out of somebody else's bed.
Excuse me?
I'm not saying it happened. I'm just saying.
I am never pulled out of anywhere. I come and go as I please.
I'm leaving that one alone. Have a good night, ladies.
They throw a rock at him. Not a lady! Like, I know it was meant teasingly, but, like, he's a warrior. He can take a rock being thrown at his head.
And I channel full of air and I stop the rock and just fall on the ground. Like, we don't need both of them angry at us.
You're probably right. All right, let's go get that damn drink.
Apologies.
Maybe there'll be some new soldiers to look at tomorrow or tonight.
Oh.
Maybe there'll be some new soldiers for you to admire.
And I just kind of like fix my dress a little and like, does my hair look okay? Of course it does.
It looks
what
fine.
am I saying?
It looks fine.
Let's go.
Good night, Tedric.
Good night, Tedric.
I'm sure I'll still be here. All right. As you slowly walk into town, you do see people kind of... It's getting to be late evening, so people are slowly sort of packing up. Somebody new in town, though, instantly piques your interest. Well, new. You've seen them around, you've never interacted with them. But it's rather difficult to avoid a 7.5-foot tall Ogier when they're walking down the main thoroughfare, also towards the tavern. Neil, what does Quercus look like?
Quercus looks like a 7.5 to 8 foot Ogier, although slightly slender built for an Ogier, not unfit, but just with the air of someone who is not used to hefting weapons around or doing anything that requires combat or building up one's muscles. More of a like a whip crack of an Ogier, if one could be called that.
Fair.
He has brown hair and brown eyes. You can see the tips of his ears peeking out. Very attractive ears, mind. He's just sauntering along the street, sort of minding his own thoughts.
All right. Are you heading into the tavern, or did you have a different destination in mind?
I think I might see what these humans in taverns get up to in the evenings. I principally study the plants, you see, but maybe it would do one good to broaden one's horizons.
All right. So you walk into the tavern, and it's still lively, still many goings on, much drinking, much gambling. You don't notice it, but you're followed a few moments later by two smaller individuals. And Pimur, why don't you go ahead and give me a perception check?
16.
Very impressive. You see Andre. He's apparently in town.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's losing badly at poker dice to one of the farmers and a child of the light.
Okay, well, I immediately have to go over there and offer him backup because, it's Andre. This is the dude. So I go over and I clap him on the shoulder. I'm like, hey, Andre, how's it going?
He kind of sits up and you look at the measly pile of coins in front of him. He's like, how does it bloody look?
Yeah, that... Do you want me to sit in for a minute? Maybe see if I can't turn your fortunes around?
Is that some sort of code? You're gonna do your wibbly wobbly magicy things and make the dice go. And the minute he says that, everybody else at the table sort of perks up. And Andre is an older man, probably his mid-40s. Short cut, blonde hair, dressed in decent leather traveling clothes. He's got kind of a half cape over one arm and sort of a broad-brimmed hat with one side upturned. He's got turned-down boots, and he's kind of he's leaning back. He's played by Tim Roth, and more to Pimur's notice, he has a large, broad handle of a black powder pistol at his waist.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
Not that one, Amena.
Oh, sorry.
Talking the one that actually does fire. That one.
Stick to the things you know, Pimur.
But sure, yeah, if you want to sit in, I think at this point my next step is to ransom my firstborn to this child over here. The dice are just not speaking my language tonight.
Well, I might not be able to do any of the wibbly wobblies yet, but I can certainly toss dice like any other man.
Fair enough.
So I don't know, I guess I get out the buy-in for the game. Sit myself down.
This should be fun. I'm gonna look over. Rigney, can I have more?
Oh yeah. We definitely need some. Wave over at Rigney. More beer for this table.
Wait a second. I just kind of lean over and very quietly whisper in Pimur's ear, please don't drink too much this time.
Okay.
Kira said I is already super pissed at you.
She can't get any more mad.
I don't want to find out if that's true.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
I'll try to go slow for the first hour.
Smooth my skirts.
Rigney kind of acknowledges you from across the bar, and he goes, hey, Pimur, are we going dark or extra dark tonight?
Oh, extra dark. Definitely extra dark. It was a day.
That kind of night. Okay, all right, coming right up. And he sets these two pitchers of dark beer down, and he goes, suppose I shouldn't be asking this, but I assume this is going on Kiera Sedai's tab.
Do you know me or do you know me?
You're gonna be the death of me, young man.
I'm just gonna be so mad.
It's okay. This is the only building in town I don't want to set on fire, so,
I appreciate that. That's, thank you for that. Yeah, that's good to hear. All right, so Lance, as you're sitting here enjoying this game, two new people have shown up. The one who sat down appears feminine, but is being addressed as a man, and the other one is definitely not.
Not feminine or not a man?
Not a man.
Are you wearing a dress?
Okay. Long story. No.
But
it's not a dress. It's a dress shirt with some divided riding pants. Okay?
that's a really long dress shirt.
Yeah, you're telling me. I don't get to choose what I wear, okay? I mean, you're a child of the light. You understand uniforms, I guess.
Well, yeah, but I take pride in this.
Yeah, I bet you chose it, too.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, I didn't get to choose this.
Well, you could just stop.
Maybe if I knew you better, I would give you the entire sob story of why I don't have that option. But for now, let's roll some dice.
Okay.
All right, both of you roll 5d6.
Can I just take a moment to say how hard it was not to do a writer response.
Okay, I got a bunch of numbers. 1, 5, 3, 6, 1.
Oh, I lost.
Ha!
13.
You did lose.
I cackle in a very masculine way.
Of course.
More of a guffaw. I think that's the correct word for that.
And as you cackle, I'm just going to look over and be like, a man, huh? Let's go again.
All right. Fuck you, bro.
Ooh, shit.
I still win. We both roll like crap, but I rolled less like crap. Oh, what do you say, pretty boy?
I'm going to throw him again. 18.
18.
What? 19.
You can do this all freaking night. 27.
Okay, with that roll, I'm just going to give you your money. Scoot back a little bit, because now time's gone by. And I'm going to go look for food. And once we find it, I'm going to bring some back for Pimur for kind of kicking my ass at dice.
I'm going to pass over all but like the buy-in copper to Andre. There you go.
Lad, that's why I keep you around.
So can we go shooting tomorrow? Ha ha ha. You free? You free? Huh?
Yeah, I'm in town tomorrow. Me and the lads got another job, but we don't leave for a day.
Sweet. So I'll meet you at the usual place at the usual time, and we can do some target practice.
I suppose.
Come on, man! I just won back all your money and then some. I'll even bring the targets.
That's fair.
Yes.
It has been a while since last we saw each other, isn't it?
Yeah, weeks, I think. Well, definitely I know because I count. Because it's the only thing to look forward to in this light-forsaken town. Excepting the lovely company of Amena, obviously. But, shooting guns is where it's at.
Nice to see you as well again, Amena. Do I need to buy you a drink for tonight, or are you looking for fun of another sort?
Well, fun of another sort usually finds me. I don't have to go looking for it, but you can buy me a drink if you like.
And he'll kind of just look over at Regni and roll his eyes and circle his finger and point at you, and he just kind of nods and chuckles to himself.
Thank you.
All right, so what did Quercus do when he started walking into the tavern? Now that the dice game seemed to generate, there was a lot of oohing and awing as all the dice rolls were kind of going, and they maybe attracted a small crowd.
He's been doing what Ogier do best, which is observe things and mentally catalogue what's going on. He's not all that familiar with all of this dice rolling business. We don't seem to have that in the stedding, so his eyes are attracted to that. He's also rather famished because he's been out walking the nearby stedding that is regrowing. So he heads to the bar, props himself up there, and tries to get Rigny's attention. Although he's big, he's an Ogier, he's easy to recognize, yet he's also rather quiet and hesitant. So he sort of puts his hand up, tries to get the barman's attention. Barman is attracted by Pimur and people who are being loud, so fails to get the attention of the barman, and eventually manages to make eye contact and says, "I would like some food, please."
Of course, Tree Brother. I'm not sure how I missed you standing there when you're the size of my bar. What can I do for you?
I would like some meat and some vegetables and some... What other things do you have?
Meat and vegetables. We got some bread.
Okay.
Harry will make some wonderful bread. Just have some coming out of the oven here soon.
I'll have
like
lots of that,
loaf
please.
of that, maybe?
Yes, that would be very
Okay,
suitable. Thank
not
you.
a problem. It's just going to cost you 2 gold pieces, please.
2 gold? My eyebrows are slightly rise at that, and I reach into my pocket and then think, hold on. I don't have much familiarity with humans. This is my first time outside the stedding. But that seems rather a lot of money in relation to what the stonemasons in our stedding make each year. So I make eye contact with the barman again and say, this seems suspicious. and I try to give him my hardest stare, hoping that he might change his mind, but not wanting to call him out and say, you're having a game here.
Fair enough. Why don't you go ahead and... You're an Ogier. Why don't you go ahead and roll me an intimidation check?
Ooh. Yes. Oh, he's 7 feet tall.
True. Even I'm going to have to look up to him, and I'm like one of the taller people that I know.
How tall are you?
I did math for that. I figured out how tall I am. I did figure out how tall I am. I'm 6'3".
Dang.
Oh, yeah, you are tall.
I rolled dice for that.
Did you really? That's awesome.
Yeah, I found the random height generator table thing and rolled actual dice.
You're finally tall.
I know, right? Tall, dark, and handsome. Well, I don't know about handsome, but I'm tall and dark compared to my normal short, pale self.
It's only an inch shorter than me in real life.
So I rolled a 17.
Okay, so you're kind of looking, Rigney goes, it's perfectly fair, perfectly fair. That'll be 5 silver, please.
Is it possible to sharpen my glare anymore?
Such a pushy Ogier.
I know,
He's trying to fit in.
yes, that's evidently it. So I sharpen my glare and see if that has any effect, and if not, I'm mentally willing to part with my silver because I am very hungry.
Why don't Pimur, Amena, and Lance go ahead and give me perception checks?
17.
7. I'm distracted.
10.
All right, so Pimur is the only one to notice, in the midst of everything talking to Andre, that there's a rather ragged-looking Ogier at the bar who apparently doesn't have the 2 silver for food.
Oh, all right.
I thought it was 5 silver.
So, yeah, I'm going to notice that this Ogier is attempting to wrangle with Rigney. Like, Rigney's our dude. Like, what are you doing? I'm going to go over there and see what's up. And, I gave Andre most of the money that I had made from that game. But, like, I have, my little bit that I take in for going out to eat or whatever. And
You've got a little stipend from the
yeah, I just
tower.
got that little bit. I'm going to come up to the bar and look up at one of the few people that I have to look up at because I'm 6'3". Having a little problem here? Look over at Rigney, like, is he giving you a problem?
I look down at you and say, is this really what food costs here? And then I sort of hold out my large hand and say 5 silver.
I mean, yeah, it's not like we're in a city. It's not like, ridiculous or anything. But yeah, I mean, you're a big fellow. You're going to require some food.
That is true. I do eat a lot. Okay, reluctantly, I part with my silver because I'm getting hungry and these humans are rather frustrating me.
All right, so he will scoop up the coin, kind of nod in Pimur's general direction, and direct you to take a seat, and the food will be coming out shortly.
I'm just going to reach over and before Pimur disappears, just clamp a hand on his shoulder, and that's right, and say, what are you up to, human?
Me? I'm just wondering what a Ogier like yourself is doing here. What could possibly bring an Ogier here? We have no stoneworks, and that's all I really know about Ogier 4. So come over to our table and tell us what you're doing here.
I start towards you and then remember my food and say, my food, I'm hungry.
He'll bring it out to the table.
Right, and then
Have you ever been in an inn before?
No, this is my first inn.
Oh, wow.
This is my first time outside of stedding. Let me tell you all about it. I'm a researcher. Care to hear about my research?
Oh, I just, how long did you say you'd been outside of the stedding for?
A matter of months.
And this is your first inn?
I'm only 100 years old,
Right, only 100. Yeah, that makes total sense. So, can you give me the short version of your research?
Trees. The great trees. I'm interested in them. I'm interested in exploring all the possible ways in which great tree community ecology varies in steadings throughout what's Randland called now that we're in the Fourth Age.
The
Westlands. Let's call it the Westlands.
Westlands is a good enough term for it, yeah.
So I continue to forcefully tell Pimur all about my research in about 5 sentences, and then I get the sense that Pimur is no longer paying attention. His eyes are glazing over. Yeah, he's
like I stopped at the third tree species that you specified. Like,
Right. Mentally, I'm
actually for giggles, Pimur. Why don't you go ahead and give me Oh, let me see. Why don't you give me a Constitution saving throw?
Oh dear.
Just for giggles.
16.
Okay, so you do catch yourself a couple of times nodding, but you at least have the presence of mind not to fall asleep directly while he's talking to you.
This is good. And I am, fascinated by how active the eyebrows are. They're just have a whole life of their own, and that's enough to keep me a little engaged.
Right. So I've tailed off at this point, realizing that you're no longer going to be able to repeat my research agenda when you next encounter someone who might have details on the nearest great tree stedding outside of Dal Sherandu. Anyway, I'm just going to head back in your direction to the dice game, forgetting about my food for the moment.
Oh my, Ogier.
Okay, so you all, I'm assuming, spend a few hours conversing. I'm sure Quercus is interested in whatever Pimur is willing to tell of why she and Amena are stuck on a farm in the quote-unquote middle of nowhere. And why don't we pause for that?
And that is where we close the book for now. Come join us next time on Just Roll With It.
Recording is
Here we go.
We are recording.
All right. Okay, I have a couple of things to read into us, and then I'm going to start the amazingly cool intros that we've been sitting on for weeks now. That I've been talked off the ledge 3 or 4 times about sharing it early.
Only 3 or 4?
Dozen.
That I'm admitting to.
Yeah.
Okay, so first off, I will read. So Michael Kramer and Kate Redding have been insanely supportive of this whole project. They've been communicating with me since SpoilerCon in getting this audio set up that you'll hear in a few minutes. And they have an audiobook coming out in January. It's called The Prophet by Khalil Gibran, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And The Prophet was originally written in 1923 and is now in the public domain. It has been translated into over 100 languages and has never been out of print. It is a collection of prose poetry. The audiobook contains 2 full versions. Part 1 has music from Stefan Frankenberger, and Part 2 is featuring the voices of our beloved Michael and Kate. The blurb, or if you will, of The Prophet is, the Prophet, Al-Mustafa, has lived in the city of Orphalese for 12 years and is about to board a ship to venture home. He is stopped by Almirta the seeress and the people of the city who ask him for different insights. The book is divided into chapters of poetry dealing with love, marriage, children, giving, eating and drinking, work, joy and sorrow, houses, buying and selling, clothes, crime and punishment, laws, freedom, reason, passion, pain, self-acknowledgement, and several other very important topics. That is on pre-order now, and it comes out mid-January. So I know I'm going to pre-order it once my next Audible credit comes in, and you should definitely take a look at it as well. It is a royalty share for them, so unlike a flat fee that they usually get for reading audiobooks, this will give them a percentage of all the sales. And we definitely want to support them because of all of their support for us and the fact that they read The Wheel of Time. And, we like to see people succeed. So definitely want to check that particular book out. And also, we also want to shout out to Fox and Raven Media, the Twitch that we are currently on. They are producing us and hosting us, and Seth and Patrick have been great and amazing from the beginning about this whole project. And it's a lot of our fans come directly from them, so we wouldn't be what we are without them and without that sort of structure of support. So thank you to Fox and Raven Media and Seth and Patrick for helping us along. And hopefully as we get bigger, they will get bigger and vice versa. And it's like I said, it's good to see friends succeed. Okay, that is all I have for the openings. Are we ready to hear the intros?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's sit back and enjoy.
The wheel of time turns, and ages come and pass, leaving memories that become legend. Legend fades to myth, and even myth is long forgotten when the age that gave it birth comes again. In one age, called the Fourth Age by some, an age yet to come, an age long past, a wind rose in the lands formerly of the Blight. The wind was not the beginning. There are neither beginnings nor endings to the turning of the wheel of time, but it was a beginning. Born around the dark edifice called Shawl Ghoul, the wind blew east, out across the lands once called blasted, no longer tainted by darkness and shadow. Down it flailed into the town of Dal Sherandu, through the streets of craftsmen and miners, beating at the wooden sign depicting 8 tall towers hanging above the door to a tavern.
You are listening to Just Roll With It. Jonathan is your lore master. Christine plays the channeler Amena Valare. Neil plays the Ogier Quercus son of Ilex. Aradia plays the channeler Pimur and Amena. And Fate plays the child of the light, Lance Akashi.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Are you enjoying Just Roll With It? Do you want to keep up with all of the shenanigans and updates and maybe interact with us online? Follow us on Twitter at @just_roll or Instagram at @justrowlwithitpodcast with underscores between each word. Are you interested in maybe earning cool gaming dice or other awesome perks? Our Patreon is patreon.com/JRWI. We use Sirenscape for all of our sound effects and are a production of Fox and Raven Media.